You found your dream home, but what lurks behind the surface? This video reveals the secrets of home inspections and what you need to look for to avoid those costly surprises. Let's dive right into it. Before getting into it, we need to find out what is a home inspection. So a home inspection is a visual and detailed evaluation of a property's condition by a professional home inspector at that specific time. It typically covers the home structure. We are talking about roof and attics. They're looking for leaks, insulation issues, structural integrity. We are also talking about the foundation, the structure. We're checking for cracks, settling, or possible water infiltration. The other thing is the plumbing. We're examining pipes, water heaters, fixtures for leaks and problems. The other thing you want to also double check is the electrical system. You want to inspect the wiring, the electrical panel, the outlets, light fixtures. These are all important parts of the property you're buying. The other thing is the heating and cooling systems. You want to make sure that your HVAC system are working properly. And sometimes they'll also check the appliances, make sure the basic functions are working and that the stove, the dishwasher, everything is in good working order. The other thing they're going to be looking at are windows and doors. We're looking for drafts, broken seals, security concerns. So think of it as a physical checkup for the home before you commit to it. Why do buyers need a home inspection? For buyers, a home inspection is your best protection. It is also peace of mind knowing what you're buying. It helps you uncover potential issues before you commit to it, saving you from surprise repairs and thousands of unexpected costs in the future. It's your chance to make an informed decision, so you want to make sure you know what you're buying and what could go wrong a little bit later. The inspection is there to reveal potentially hidden issues, costly surprises, and sometimes you can also use that to leverage for negotiations a little bit later. But you have to remember that we're not on TV here. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. So let's say the inspector finds a cracked foundation or water leaks, issues in the attic, electrical issues. Now you have options. A couple of things can happen. You can renegotiate the price if you want to. You can also ask the sellers to make those necessary repairs, making sure that it's done properly. Or if there's too many things, if it's too much for you, you can just decide to walk away from this transaction. What can you expect during that inspection? So a standard home inspection is usually 2 to 3 hours. It all depends also on the size and condition of the property. The inspector will do a top to bottom visual review of the property, inside and out. They're looking for signs of damage, wear and tear, and potential safety issues. One of the questions we get asked all the time is, should I be there while the inspector is doing his inspection? And the only answer is yes, you should be there. You should see what the inspector is doing, take notes, take pictures, because this is something you're spending a lot of money on this property. So you want to make sure that the inspector is showing you what needs to be taken care of and what needs to be addressed later on. You are going to see the inspector climbing in the attic, testing outlets, checking under the sinks, checking the plumbing, the electrical. He will also be walking the perimeter of the property and also checking out the roof and structure. This is something that you do not want to skip. The goal of this inspection is not to pass or fail the house, but this is to give you a very clear, unbiased picture of the home's condition at the time of inspection. The inspectors cannot predict the future, and depending on the home itself, you might want to consider specialized inspections, such as structural inspections. If there are signs of shifting, cracks, things that aren't quite right, your inspector will probably suggest for you to have a specialized person for structural. The other thing is potentially electrical inspection. The inspector is not a certified electrician, so if he sees or if she sees something wrong with the electrical, he or she will recommend to maybe get an electrician to come take a look. Same thing with the plumbing, sewer. These are all things that sometimes an inspector might not specialize in, but he'll be able to recommend those people. The other thing, that if the inspector finds potential mold, radon, asbestos, you will want to make sure that this gets tested a little bit better, a little bit more in details, just to make sure what you're getting yourself into. And then there's pest or termite inspections. If the inspector sees signs of rodents or something or animals up in the attic, he might suggest to get somebody else to come take a look at it and see what the problem really is. Your inspector will help you decide if you do need those specialized inspections with that conversation. So that is another reason to be there, so you can actually have those conversations with the inspector and discuss this a little bit more in details. A qualified home inspector is trained to spot the issues that the average buyer or even realtors might miss when we're doing the showings. They're not just checking boxes, they're looking for signs of damage, wear and tear, potential safety hazards, safety issues. And a lot of these inspectors are certified through national associations and they undergo continuous training. The other thing you want to make sure is that your home inspector also has insurance. This is a protection for them and also for you. Now we're going to be talking about some common issues found during home inspections. First up is foundation and structural problems. If they find cracks in a foundation, uneven floors, or signs of water infiltration, all these things can raise red flags. These might not always be major, but they need a closer look just to make sure. Next is electrical issues. This includes things like outdated wiring, overloaded panels, missing GFCI outlets, or potentially exposed wires. These are not just inconvenient, they can be dangerous and should be taken very seriously. Plumbing is another big one. Inspectors often find leaky pipes, low water pressure, maybe slow drains. Older homes might even have galvanized piping, which can be a future headache. The other one that is very common is the roof. You can see potentially missing shingles, damaged flashing, or signs of past leaks in the attic. They can all be signals that it's near the end of its lifespan. You want to make sure that you are aware of what you're getting yourself into, because roof, electrical, plumbing, they can mean big repair bills. The other one is heating and cooling systems. These systems do not last forever. The inspector can often find poor maintenance, clogged filters, aging systems that might not be as efficient or safe anymore. If the property doesn't drain properly, there's water that can collect near the home foundation, leading to some serious issues. We're also looking for poor grading, gutter problems, standing water. These are all signs that there might not be any water issues at the moment, but you have to keep an eye on that very, very closely. Finally, inspectors often find insufficient insulation, poor ventilation, and even mold growth, especially in attics and bathrooms. These can affect the energy efficiency of the property and also the air quality. The one thing you have to remember is that if you are buying a resale property, there will be some issues with every single house. There is no perfect house out there, even if you're buying new construction. Home inspections are designed to uncover these common issues so there are no surprises when you move in. Most homes, especially older ones, have something that does need attention. The key is basically knowing what you're dealing with before you move forward and firm up on the deal. The next thing we're talking about is understanding that inspection report. Once that inspection is done, the inspector will give you a report, and it looks like it was written sometimes in a totally different language. Don't worry about it. We are going to go through it so you know what matters, what's normal, and what to do next. The home inspection report is a detailed written summary of a property's condition completed by your home inspector, and it covers everything from the roof to the foundation and everything in between. And it's meant to help you understand what you're buying. Think of it as that health checkup for the house. Most reports follow a similar structure. Here is what you'll typically find in that report. First thing is the general information, the date of the inspection, the property address, weather conditions, and also who was present. The next section is the summary section. This is a list of all the major finds. Often they're color coded, maybe red for major issues, yellow for minor, and green for these are maybe things to watch out for, but they're okay. The next part of the report is the detailed section. These dive deeper into each part of the home, from the roofing, electrical system, plumbing, HVAC, structural, interior, exterior, appliances. Each of these sections will have notes about the condition, any defects, suggested actions, and most of the time you will also have pictures showing what the issue was. If there's a missing shingle or there's a leaky faucet, the inspector will take pictures during the inspection and include those in that report. Now let's decode some of the language you might see. You might see serviceable, which means it's working as intended, nothing to worry about. If it says deficiency noted or recommended further evaluation, that's your cue to take a closer look or potentially hire a specialist in that field. If you see a safety hazard or urgent repair needed, these are the red flags you cannot ignore. Make sure these are taken care of sooner than later. But you also have to remember that any home inspector will, again, not pass or fail the property. They just report on the condition at the current time. So what do you do with this report? First thing is review the summary. This gives you a quick look at the major concerns. The other thing you want to do is look for patterns. Multiple small plumbing issues, it could mean a bigger system problem. Next thing is talk to your inspector. They will clarify anything that sounds a little bit confusing. They'll go through the report with you, explaining anything you're not 100% sure. The other thing you can potentially do is use that report to negotiate the price. You can ask for repairs, a price reduction, or just walk away from the deal if all of these things are too serious. I've had clients walk away from a deal just because of the issues that were found were just way too much and they weren't comfortable moving forward with that transaction. This report is very important. Most buyers will read it quickly, review it right after the inspection, they get home, they file it away, they'll never look at it again. Make sure you go back to this report once you've moved in, you're settled in, you're all comfortable in your new home. Go back to this report and review it again. You paid good money for this report. There's a lot of great information and tips in this report. The next thing we're going to be talking about is negotiating after the inspection. Before we get into this part, you have to remember that you're not on a TV show. We see these all the time where you pay top dollar for the house, you do the inspection, and then you're going to try to bring the price down with all the little things that were found during the inspection. In real life, it doesn't work that way. If there are items that were discovered at inspection that were surprises, you could use it to negotiate over the price. Possibly, it all depends on what is discovered during the inspection. If you knew that the furnace was old and the inspection tell you the inspection is old, then you probably can't renegotiate on this one. It was probably already pre-negotiated in your accepted offer. Old roof, things that you can see during your visit, your showing, these are all things that, unless it's really major, you really can't renegotiate after the inspection if it's things that you knew about. The sellers might or might not want to budge on their price. Major items will likely be addressed because if you walk away from this deal, the next buyer will likely find the same issues during their inspections. The other thing I want to talk to you about are the minor repairs. Sometimes people say, oh, I want the seller to fix it. I want them to take care of it before I move in. But sometimes what you have to remember is that if the seller will repair some of the small things. They're going to do it quick, cheap, inexpensive, and will it be done properly? Sometimes it's better for you to take care of these minor repairs because then you're going to hire the right person or you're going to do it yourself and it will be done properly and to your satisfaction. So what's the bottom line? A home inspection is the smartest investment you can make when you're buying a home. It protects your finances, it protects your safety, and gives you peace of mind knowing that you're making a right decision for you and your family. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions about home inspections or buying a property, make sure to give me a quick call, or you can always email me at jeanricher@jeanricher.com. Merci beaucoup et bonne journée.